before I begin, just let me, can I ask just a quick question to all of you listening and watching? Something to ponder and think about while we're talking about something. And that is, have you ever blamed gravity when you fell while walking or while sitting in a chair? Flop. Bad gravity. So, that happened to me this past week, as if things weren't bad enough. I almost tripped and fell from the stairs at work. And obviously, I wasn't really paying attention. So luckily, I was able to grab the railing right next to me, and I was holding on for that railing for dear life. And as soon as I got up, and I said something like, "Oh my Lord, thank Lord," and thanking every other holy beings that I can think of. But as soon as I got into my car, the thought of that all the holy Jesus and Buddha and people that I were thanking just kind of faded away, and my thoughts wandered and came to, instead of that little gratitude, it turned into little anger. Why me? And uh, and then I got to thinking about the stupid gravity that pulled me down, and I was actually thinking about that. But did you know that this stupid gravity is keeping you and me from flying away from the Earth? It is spinning and rotating around. So, not so stupid. This force of gravity is there always. Most of you know that. It's everywhere. Now, it does not choose me nor anyone, you, me. It just is. You don't see it, you don't hear it, you don't smell it. But if you're not careful, you will fall. And just like this pen. Now, we know all this already. I also want to bring to your attention, like in California, recent days, there's someone mentioned in the talk, there's this massive forest fire that is raging also in Colorado. Now, once again, that fire in itself is not to blame. See, the fire consists of just carbon dioxide, oxygen, water, nitrogen, and things of that nature. See, it burns and flows according to the makeup as it consumes the air and leaves the byproduct ashes and things everywhere. Now, every day as humans, we see the phenomena of nature play out in different parts of the world, whether through earthquakes, lightning, floods, you name it. We all see these horrible consequences on the nations and the people around everywhere. So I got to thinking, what's up with all that? What's up with all this upheaval, both nature and people? Something to think about, huh? In the Declaration of Principles, which are the guidelines or what we believe and know as a spiritualist, there's an item number 2, which is written, it says, we believe that all the phenomena of nature, both physical and spiritual, are the expression of infinite intelligence. Now, if you are a spiritual person, and you will undoubtedly believe all this, which is that the Great Spirit is the natural law of the universe, and that this active force, such as gravity, is behind in all life and matter. Now, on the other hand, if you are more science-minded, you will also agree that the specific scientific equations and physical laws explain things just like gravity, fire, and the chemical reactions around us. Now, as spiritualists, we believe in perfect harmony, love, and wisdom that permeates all of its universes everywhere equally. Now, if you're a scientist, Newtonians, for example, You might say instead, there is an equal and opposite reaction. It's the law of motion that I remember from physics class. Now, I also find it very comforting to know that it's basically how you say it, but the inner core message seems to be the same for me. But I'm not here to talk about the difference between what is spiritual and what is science. Excuse me. However, I like to think of it as two different sides of the same coin. It's just a matter of how you look at it, which side you're looking at it. That makes a difference. But that's entirely a different topic, and I have digressed. So let's focus on what we know, such as the law of gravity that I talked about earlier. The same forces that everything that's on everything. Now, from the spiritual side as well, too, the Great Spirit is in everything, just like gravity. I think we know all this already. In the past, there's a book that I talked about. It's a book I spoke about before, Teachings of Silver Birch, one of my all-time favorite books. Now, that book, through the spiritual medium, Maurice Barbanel, a question was put to a higher spirit, whom we call Silver Birch. And that question is, you say the Great Spirit is in everything, the source of all things, hate, love, wisdom, and folly. It seems to follow that the man does wrong is acting within the laws of Great Spirit as much as man who does right. Those who preach the gospel of war and hate as much as those who preach peace and love. No one, in fact, can transgress the laws of spirit because everything is part of those laws. And the author asks, can you answer this difficulty? A question put to higher spirit. So, as in the creation of physical law, the gravity that I was pointing out earlier, which it being equal and in its creation, let's explore this thought and just follow with me and see what Silver Birch has to say about the differences between humans, good or bad. So Silver Birch replies by saying the following. And this is really interesting. I love this. But you have to be careful in listening to this. There is perfection and there is imperfection. But imperfection contains within itself the seeds of perfection. For perfection comes from imperfection. Perfection does not come from perfection, but from imperfection. Interesting. So, is the higher spirit telling us that we are imperfect, or that some of us are perfect and some are not? You know, what is going on here? So, in the book, Silver Birch goes on to say that every human soul, you and I, is perfect because every creation is perfect. So does that mean that everybody's perfect? Hardly. As we know in life, some of us believe that is evolution, progress, and moving forward and learning is happening all the time. Now, Silver Birch also says what you call, if I can find it. Oh, so Silver Birch also says that what you call good or bad are but stages in the road of life, lines of progress. They are not the end. You judge with an imperfect understanding. Now, once again, the Great Spirit is within all things, Silver Birch says in this book. Then my thought became, if every soul is perfect, that's not what I see. What's the deal? What is going on with these perfect souls, you and I? I mean, surely, as we look around this world, some of these perfect souls obviously didn't get the memo. You see, it's the expression that Silver Birch says, expression of the soul that needs a little work. Even though we believe that all things being equal, created equal, and with great care, I imagine, and very lovey-dovey inside, all of us, you and I, it is when we mouth off that we get in trouble. And this misaligned expression can come from many sources and reasons. And I'm sure you can think of yourself, several yourself. Or you can see those misimperfections on the internet, on the TV, or even from your friends and families alike. We all do. Now, Silver Birch also describes the expression of the perfect soul process as a mirror and a light. See, every mirror can reflect the same beautiful light equally. Now, however, if the mirror has imperfections such as cracks or dirty smears, it will not reflect all of its beautiful light. So we can say that the Great Spirit is responsible for all those who are, including maybe undelightful or even harm to others. Just as gravity does not pick you or me, but its forces are unto same everywhere and every time. Now, in this imperfect expression coming from us, the light reflecting from us will be shinier, that much brighter, as we evolve onto a higher spiritual scale. Now, Silver Birch cautions us, because we have many imperfection thoughts and bodies, not the soul inside, outside our thoughts and bodies. What comes out from our mouth is mostly that, imperfection. See, we have, as a spiritualist, we also know that we have free will. We can choose to express our soul in a very meaningful way, one of which is the silence of our own soul. Your spirit, the soul, when it reaches out for communion with the higher Great Spirit, and in that silence, Silver Birch says, you will be with one. Now, Silver Birch says that it is not possible to express that in any language. Have you ever told somebody, I love you, but the words just doesn't seem to do justice? So through this silence, you are not evolving the spirit. You are evolving the bodies and mind, through which spirit can express itself. Silver Birch says that what we might call evil in this world is the imperfection created by the same perfect law, seeking to express itself only via the misaligned path that it is on at the moment for that person or for a thing or earth. Now, just as in gravity force, and it's equally unifying and equally unifying ways. Now, every soul is equal with perfection. Now, think about that. Every soul is equal with perfection because that's what God created, or the higher self, or even science, mathematics, and numbers. Now, that means it is filled with the same light you and I, or a dog, or plants, or anything in this universe, because it was created that way. So, next time when you see someone that you might hate, dislike, or be afraid of, or just you don't understand, rich, poor, sick, or anyone, that you know that they are also trying to reflect that same evolving light at the moment in their own time. So that's basically the message from Silver Birch, and I have to say that I agree with that notion 100%. That every soul that's created is equal. It's just the way we say things, the way we express our thoughts might not come out right. And that in itself is evolving. Just like the planet Earth, many eons ago was just pure hell. But the Earth itself is also evolving, Silver Birch says. And I can only imagine what the world will be like 100 years, 1,000 years from now, including you and I, and also Earth. I'm not saying we're going to live 1,000 years, but it'll be interesting to see what that would be like, that utopia. So, so there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, the perfect light in every soul. Thank you.